Hello and welcome to The Healing Way. My name is Richard Clark and this video is number 3 of a series I'm doing entitled Rheumatoid Arthritis, Cells and Cancer. And I'm working my way through the different processes to try and get some answers or a better understanding of how these things come about. As I said in the last video, waste energy gets reabsorbed back into the body. Instead of being passed out in the normal way of things, waste energy is reabsorbed back in. Now this waste energy is tremendously harmful. It is very harmful and leads to a lot of problems. Now what I would like to say is, I think on the last video, number 2, I said that the food that we eat and what we drink doesn't matter, isn't that important. But having looked at it, I think there are 2 very damaging foods or drinks that we consume that are very harmful to us and produce waste energy that is very harmful to us. One is coffee and the other one is soft drinks, the cola type soft drinks. Possibly they're all pretty bad because of the sugar and the acid and the gases that go into them, but the cola type is particularly harmful. And these 2 foods or substances, when consumed, produce a waste energy that, when reabsorbed into the body, is very, very damaging. It's very harmful. Now there's three groups of harmful substances that we need to look at. One is this waste energy that's reabsorbed, and this waste energy is converted by cells or consumed by cells, and the waste product of that process goes towards forming conditions such as arthritis, migraines, asthmas, depressions. This is a kind of gas that's given off by the cells consuming or trying to assimilate this waste energy, the cells of the body. All cells of the body, as far as I can tell. So that's one group. That is a gas given off by the cells in their attempt to convert this waste energy into something the body can use. That's one group. Another group is completely separate, the pollution, the high energy pollutions that's absorbed into the body through the skin, mainly the ankles and the wrists. And this again goes on to form a group of illnesses, conditions such as rheumatoid arthritis, asthma, migraines, depressions. They're the same group of illnesses, but they're 2 different sources. They're very similar, they both come from a kind of gas. One that's processed in the body and gas that's absorbed through the body from outside, the high energy hydrocarbons. Now there's a third process that is quite interesting, and this is the cancer one. Because when I started these videos, my intent was to try and understand more about rheumatoid arthritis, how it gets into the body, and how this, to my perception, it seems to be a forerunner or a counterpart or the passive version to cancer. Cancer, as I've said earlier, it seems to me, and I'm talking about tumours, growths in the body, I'm not talking about blood cancer or skin cancer, but actual lumps, growths in the body. And bear in mind, I'm not a doctor, I don't try and be one, and I don't read up scientific stuff to try and present myself as one, because that's not the road I'm going down. I'm not going down this scientific road. I'm going down the road of direct perception to actually see the processes involved. So I don't want too much knowledge. I'm well aware that it's a more difficult road, and it's harder for people to accept because we're in the frame of mind. The mode now is to accept science, which is fair enough. But I have to say I am going down a different road on this to gain this perception. Right, so it's, as I say, I started these videos to understand more about rheumatoid arthritis and cancer, why they appear to be two forms of the same thing, or two expressions of the same thing. This has puzzled me for over 20 years. Right, now, and before I can go on to the cancer, I want to lay a bit more groundwork about this rheumatoid arthritis and its forerunner. The kind of, it's not an energy, but as I've said before, I've had trouble with trying to talk about this because the terms are just not there. It's the forerunner of an energy. It's a material. It is physical. It's fairly easy for perception to see, so it is perceivable. And this material is the forerunner of energy. It seems that our body absorbs a lot of this material from food, and the cells convert it into a more useful substance. We call this useful substance energy. The difference between the two is energy is fluid and moves and is more perceivable and is more on our level of existence, our physical level of existence. The forerunner of this energy, this material from food, isn't so perceivable, isn't on this level of existence, it's on a different level of existence. And it's not fluid, it is not energetic. It contains within it that which can be maybe extracted. The cells of the body can extract the energy from this material. Perhaps that's a better way of putting it, but whatever happens, the cells have to take it from where it is, where this material is, and the cells take it and bring it into our world, our universe, our level of existence, so the body can utilise it. Now, in passing, I would like to say that I've seen this forerunner of energy in everything. Everything has a forerunner, or the supplying substance, that which energy comes from. So while I've been studying the cells of the body and how they do it, it seems to me that all cells, which means all matter, is converting this forerunner of energy into usable energy, and in the process bringing it into our universe, our level of existence. As I say, these concepts don't exist, so I can't just point to something and say it's that. I have to try and outline or explain a whole new perception, a whole new way of looking at it. And I think this is important, possibly important for future work, future generations who are trying to understand, but it's worth explaining. So, this is where it gets tricky. The cells of the body take this forerunner of rheumatoid arthritis and tries to convert it into usable energy. It might be doing something else, but if it does, I haven't yet perceived it. This forerunner, this building material that becomes rheumatoid arthritis, the waste product from our food, which is reabsorbed back into the body, which is laid down in a layer throughout the body. It becomes like a sediment through the body, a level, all through the body. And this in itself causes huge problems because it disrupts the interaction between the different levels. So we have an inert level of a material that's inert, a layer of it, like a sediment, that is disrupting the processes of the body. The different layers cannot connect. So that is a huge problem, and that leads to illnesses and the breakdown of the systems of the body. Probably the other way around. The breakdown of the systems of the body lead to illnesses, or let illnesses in. So there is a certain amount, a small amount of this material is converted by the cells into something that it's trying to use. Now I don't know why it's doing that, because it doesn't seem that the cells of the body are very selective. When it has, as I've said before, when it has a choice between taking material that it can use or can be converted into useful energy, and taking this inert material, which is no use to the body, it takes the inert material. Now I'm not at all sure why it does that, but it seems to me there is a process of the brain has been affected. As I said in the last video, this material travels up the spine into the brain. I think this is another way that dementia is formed, because it damages the cells of the brain or clogs the cells of the brain, stops the cells from functioning, gets into the brain, and then there's problems. Now it seems that this, once in the brain, it programs the cells to want more. There is a definite movement in the brain towards more of this, and maybe the brain can then send out issue instructions through the body, we want more of this. It's a process that I'm going to have to take a hard look at as in future videos. But I'm still trying to get back to cancer. This is all groundwork, it's all good stuff, but it's all the groundwork. So we have this inert material that the body partly uses, the cells partly try to convert into useful energy, but there is a whole layer of it throughout the body that is beyond converting. There's too much of it. So, now this bit, I don't understand the mechanism, or I don't see the mechanism yet. But what happens is, this inert material joins into the DNA. We've probably all seen models of the double helix, the double spiral of the DNA, and this material becomes one strand of that spiral, of that helix. It becomes one strand. Yeah. I don't understand why it bonds with the DNA, this material. Why it does that is unclear. It seems to me the mechanism for creating DNA or bonding material to the DNA sees this in the same way that the cells do. The cells see this material as must have, and in some way the DNA does the same. It bonds this material into its nature, into the DNA. As I say, it becomes one strand of the DNA. Yeah, one strand. And this, I think, is the beginning of the cancer, because the instructions in the DNA are changed. Now this is something new to me, because in the past I've seen a program, an overriding program that controls how the DNA works. But this is new. This is actually the structure of the DNA has changed, or what it's made up of is changed. It's something's bonded in from this waste energy. So that's as far as I've got. That's as far as I got. I want to leave it at that, because this type of study needs to come rather than be pushed or forced. It needs to be, the brain needs to be allowed to express what it perceives, and that's going to be what I want to talk about in the next video, the relationship between the brain and the mind, and how they're used in different ways. Okay, so for this one I've gone as far as I can get at the minute. We've got a situation where the wrong materials in the body, the wrong energies, and the DNA is now, it's more than contaminated. Its structure is absorbing this waste energy. Okay, so we'll look at that in the next video. If you've got this far, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you'll watch more as we go on. Thank you.